Is the stock market about to crash? Bankruptcy filings are soaring to incredibly dangerous levels. What does this mean for crypto? What does this mean for our industry in particular if we have a complete economic collapse? We're going to talk about that today. Welcome back to the Blockhash Podcast channel. Check out our sponsor, NITROBETTIng. They are revolutionizing the way that you bet. They are the best Bitcoin betting site online where you can bet and wager in casino games, video games, racebooks, sports books, you name it. Go to nitrobetting.eu to check them out. Also, in all the links in our description below, you can find them. All right, so let's dive into this article. I'll give you my thoughts at the end, as always. So, amid continuous warnings from financial experts and prominent investors alike on the bleak state of the economy in the United States, along with predictions of its even bleaker future, recent data has shown that bankruptcy filings in the country are reminiscent of the previous crises. As it happens, the amount of filings for bankruptcy protection in the U.S. has recently reached dangerous levels, similar to those during the Great Recession in 2008 and the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. According to the information shared by user WhaleWire in an X post on September 24th, this is what we got. Of a 4-week moving average of U.S. bank filings, here's 2008, the Great Recession that we had, right? Stock market bubble, Lehman Brothers, you name it. Everything that happened in that 2008 recession, this is where we're at. In the 2020 COVID pandemic crisis, this is what we were at in terms of U.S. bankruptcy filings. And here we are in 2023, skyrocketing between 2022 and now, out of nowhere, just skyrocketing faster than we even did in the COVID pandemic. Bankruptcies are coming in fast. This is not good. This is not good. This is on par to be similar to or worse than what we saw in these scenarios, where in 2008, this happened a lot slower. Same thing with the COVID pandemic, and that happened so rapidly. We are getting crushed. Now, according to expert findings, such levels typically indicate a massive crisis in preparation, including possible crash of the stock market, as similar situations have happened before, both in 2008 and 2020 specifically. Meanwhile, one of the prominent investors sounding the alarm on the U.S. economy is Robert Kiyosaki, of course, who has warned of the impending end of the American empire through the demise of the U.S. dollar, which in his view is no longer going to be the reserve currency of the world. As a way to protect oneself against the looming economic downfall, the author of the best-selling personal finance book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, has long recommended investing in alternative assets like crypto. Bitcoin, arguing that crypto is the future in the world where fiat money is fake. I agree. More recently, Kiyosaki advised his followers to buy Bitcoin today, not tomorrow, as the flagship decentralized DeFi finance asset, along with gold and silver, in his view, remains a relatively cheap investment at this point in time. Indeed, Bitcoin was at press time trading at around 26.1. Today, Bitcoin is trading relatively similar. So, the bulls do not exist when it comes to the traditional markets right now, all right? It's very dangerous. Bears are in full control of what is impending to come, the implications on the U.S. economy and much more so the global economy. It worries me very much, but what I pay the most attention to is the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar is up right now. If the U.S. dollar collapses, it will accelerate what we are seeing. And a lot of this stuff that's happening already will continue to impact the U.S. dollar. Now, if the U.S. dollar crashes, the one thing that is the most inversely related to economic disaster in the U.S. dollar and is the perfect hedge is Bitcoin. That is something that we are watching intently, especially myself, because I see that as the linchpin for this next bull market. Bitcoin, since its existence, has not experienced an economic downturn. The closest that we got to that was the 2020 pandemic. Bitcoin was born out of the 2008 recession. So since 2008, Bitcoin really hasn't experienced a recession or a depression in an economic market. To prove out Bitcoin's use case, and this is an opportunity for that, and I think it's going to happen in tremendous fashion. Right now, Bitcoin is exceeding expectations, being as high as it is, between $26,000 and $30,000 right now, which is insane considering where it started at pennies and a couple dollars. But that's mostly driven by people that believe in it and just buy it and hold it as an alternative investment, that don't consider it as a financial product with substantial backing. You don't have these institutions truly at scale buying Bitcoin and crypto. Neither do you have banks and corporations. You have a few. You get the Michael Saylors of the world, the BlackRocks, every once in a while, the Teslas and SpaceXs, but they're too far and few. You need more. You need to tap into these legacy markets and that capital and that liquidity to flow into Bitcoin. That's only going to happen when they believe that it is a hedge against what's happening, and this will be the proof of it. I think it's going to happen. Given the fact where bankruptcy filings are at, I think this is going to happen relatively soon. I think this bull market could even start earlier than one might expect. Everyone's calling for it to happen in 2025. It's not how Bitcoin works. Not entirely. All right. We've had bull markets come right before halvings. We have them come right after halvings. I think Bitcoin's going to start its bull market before the halving. And I think it will finish it in 2025. But who knows? Maybe it doesn't finish it. Maybe it just goes on a multi-year bull run. There's a lot of possibilities here. I think the price is being systematically suppressed so people, larger players, can buy in at accordingly fair prices to them, accordingly fair. So they can position themselves before this goes mainstream. Bitcoin, I guess, in a sense is mainstream, but it's not really mainstream like a financial product should be. We're getting there. And I think in this type of market, that's what's going to happen. But this is going to be ugly when the market collapses. There's a lot of instability. There's a lot of bad policy, a lot of politicians that are siphoning America dry right now. War that no one wants to be a part of and that no one wants to be funding. And there's talks of new pandemics and there's another election coming up, and that's going to drive a lot of speculation. So there's a time and place for everything to be resolved, and I think it's coming very, very soon. So that's what I want to talk about today. I just want to give my thoughts on what I was seeing in terms of these bankruptcy filings being as high as they are. It's ridiculous. Look at it. This only happened 2 other times since 2008. In 2008 itself and during the COVID pandemic. And this one, it's crazy how steep it is. This is largely due to interest rates having to be raised because of the inflation being so high, but it's just killed businesses that have had to lay off thousands of employees and personnel. They're closing shop and having to, cut expenditures, and they can't stay afloat. But it's happening so rapidly. That's what's scary. Something that happens that rapidly doesn't just dwindle away. It only gets worse before it gets better. All right. Comment your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think about the bankruptcy filings and how that might impact the economy, as well as our favorite Bitcoin. Also, be sure to like the video, share it with someone that's interested in this kind of stuff, and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you have, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Cheers.